Well, good morning, everyone. It is Shankar and Andrea with the Shank Show, and we help doctors get more patients. Very easy. Andrea, how are you today?
I'm pretty good.
Tell me something about your childhood that I didn't know.
Something about my childhood that you did not know. Hmm. You know quite a bit. I was gonna say, did you know that I was in like basically every float and parade possible in my city in Big Spring?
I did not know that. I knew that you like to participate in parades, but like every single one, I did not know that. No. So that was your mother, huh, who taught you to show yourself in the community to be seen?
Yes, she was very involved with Big Spring and the opportunities that we had to dress up or to be present. We took every single one of them.
Well, she is a smart woman, I can tell you that, because that is also something that we teach our physician clients. Show yourselves in the community and talk about something that is relevant to your patients. And that is speak to their greatest fear.
Mm.
We have a mentor who says, wrap the medicine in bacon. And because Andrea and I are vegans, we say we wrap the candy in bacon. All right, Andrea. So tell us about one of the greatest fears that patients have. You did share a website with me earlier that will give us more insight into that, and you tell me when I can show that to our audience.
You can bring it up now. I
Okay.
can speak to this personally because it's one of the greatest fears that I had when relocating back to the US, and that's costs, medical bills, the cost being out of control. It's not the same, well, at least in primary care, right? So we know that there's a lot of people that have had, childhood fears and trauma around going to the dentist and getting their teeth extracted and this and this. But when it comes down to specialists or when it comes down to primary care physicians, patients just don't want debt. 35% of patients with outstanding medical bills said that debt deterred them from seeking healthcare services over the
Mhm.
past year. And this article that you have up right now is from 2021. So, I mean, that's pretty recent. And yeah, it's that. People don't want to pay an arm and a leg while losing an arm and a leg. They'd maybe rather lose the arm and a leg. And it's it's really not shocking.
So that is very interesting and kind of makes a lot of sense. Now, what can a physician or healthcare professional do to speak to that fear that patients have of really getting into too much debt? And if you think about it, it's really something very particular to the United States, I believe, where you go into the doctor and you might come out with a so-called surprise bill. The question is, what can you, as a healthcare practitioner in the United States, do to alleviate that fear? And there are, of course, different healthcare delivery models that Andrea and I know. Andrea, do you want to give a very brief synopsis of what DPC and direct care is?
Well, DPC is really about that direct relationship with the patient and the doctor, and because of that, they have regular access. There's loads of transparency. It's affordable, and it's really, I think, the solution to this problem, to this greatest fear that patients have, because they know, well, first of all, because they can ask questions. You'd be surprised. how unallowed you are to ask questions in the traditional healthcare system. And a lot of times they don't even know. Doctors don't know in the traditional system, being when it's not direct. So there's insurance involved or there's third parties, and they're not dealing with the money. So in one hand, it's kind of convenient because they just get paid their regular fee and they don't have to deal with any of the uncomfortable talk about money. On the other hand, they really cannot help their patients understand what they're paying for because they don't know themselves.
Mhm.
So with DPC and direct primary care, or really direct care in general, you could be a specialist who just charges a flat fee or prices that are very easily seen listed on the website. Dr. Mark Havercorn with River City OMS is one of the only maxillofacial surgeons, if not the only one, who has all of his prices listed on his website. And he says in the United States he cannot find that. So
Yeah,
these
why don't we bring up that website very briefly? That's a great idea.
it's kind of perfect because you see what you get is what you see. What you see is what you get. I mean, I used him to
Mhm.
get my molars extracted, four of them, and it was 1,000, a little bit over the like 1025. It was exactly what he said it would be. That's with taxes, that's with anesthesia, that's with everything. So the prices are and services are listed. There is that mitigates a lot of the fear. When people know up front what they're going to pay and what they're going to get out of it, then you just remove a lot of the doubt. You seem trustworthy. I think if you navigate over to our services and pricing, you will, yeah, when you just get rid of that, then you get rid of a lot of the problem.
So, I mean, look at that. That is very impressive, right? You have
Absolutely.
everything he offers: wisdom teeth extractions.
Hmm.
Okay, we will remove your wisdom teeth for 1,000 plus the current $25 PPE fee. So, uh, four wisdom teeth for $1,025. I think you went through that yourself with him,
Yeah,
right?
correct.
And it's just amazing because I remember you trying to figure out what it costs with other providers. And there's always this unknown of anesthesia, and nobody really knows if they can do that for you or not, and at the same rate or not, and what are the increments of billing.
It was, I
So,
can tell you what it was. It would have been
yeah.
15 minutes, increments of 15 minutes is how much you would charge for anesthesia. But who can predict how long the surgery will be? And they still didn't exactly know the cost. And I referred to my insurance company. It was really, truly cheaper to go direct than it would have been to go through my insurance. And even the discrepancies between different representatives of my health insurance could not give me consistent answers, only stabs in the dark and guesses, and then, oh, contact the provider directly. Well, why am I calling you, and why should I have to go through a list of 10 different providers to compare when they don't even know? They'll tell you, go through your insurance, or this is ridiculous ping ponging back and forth. And I
Mhm,
tell you, even if it had been just a little bit more expensive, which it wasn't, it was thousands of dollars cheaper. I kid you
mhm.
I still would have been willing to go for peace of mind, and because it's just I know what I'm getting.
Right.
Go through River City.
Okay, so that is for physicians who operate in the direct primary care model or the direct care model. What about those who do not have that set up? You know, we know it's a long journey for a physician to get there. So, what can you say knowing that that is the patient's biggest fear? What can you say in your advertisement, in the way you communicate to your communities? And I would say go to one of those parades that Andrea mentioned, rent a booth, and talk about, for example, the appropriateness of care, something that Dr. McCary talks about. Talk about the fact that you understand that a lot of your colleagues may over prescribe or overdiagnose. That is a true issue, and patients are worried about that. They are afraid that they're going to get yet another diagnosis that does not reflect what they truly have. And they come out with prescriptions for a bunch of redundant medication. So if you talk about that and you basically guarantee that that is something that you actively avoid, that is not your philosophy of giving care to your patients, I know that will resonate with them. I know that will be something that attracts them to you, because nobody talks about it like that online, on social media, or at parades. The patients are not used to that level of compassion and empathy towards their wallet. And now, with a possible recession upon us, it is something that will set you apart. This is part of the so-called patient avatar, that you understand correctly who your patient is. What is their worst fear? What is going on? What is keeping them up at night? And based on that knowledge, you craft your messaging. Go to shanks.healthcare. There's a ticker that shows the web address. Go to shanks.healthcare and learn how you can get more patients. Andrea and I, we can teach you that. Just go and check it out. Andrea, any final thoughts?
Well, what's something we don't know about you that you did when you were younger?
Something about me that we don't know. So I grew up in an old school that was literally built against a church. It was one and the same building. Actually, no, correction. The church was like maybe 2 feet away, and it used to be the pastor's living quarters in the past, right? So in the attic, if I went upstairs, I had a bunch of church statues. Jesus's, Josephus, Maria's, and all kinds of holy people. And as a kid, I would go into that part of the attic, and you see me with statues that are about like a foot or 2 foot tall, 2 feet taller than myself. I have like this garden of holiness around me, and I play with them. I like, hey, Jesus was my buddy, and Maria was my heavenly mother. And yeah, that was pretty fun. I spent a lot of time in that attic. That's something you didn't know, right?
That is definitely something that I did not know. Also
See?
interesting that you said Maria's and not Mary's. But yeah, that's
Oh, yeah.
those were your toys.
That's very interesting, because we in the Luxembourgish language and in the French language, no, actually Luxembourgish and German, they say Maria instead of Mary. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
That's the
closer to
reason.
your original name, I think.
Yeah, is it? Okay.
I think so.
Well, there you go. We're 1 minute late for our morning meeting, Andrea, with my childhood memories that you made me talk about.
Well, thank you for sharing.
You're very welcome. All right. We'll see you tomorrow on the Shanks Show. Go to shanks.healthcare. Andrea and I, we teach you how to get more patients. Bye for now.
Bye bye.